Well, the Astros have a successful homestand against two powerhouses in the National League. Jose Altuve helped them get the win versus the Cubs. See you, Kyle Tucker. It was nice while you were here, but we got bigger things to do. Let's go get a left-handed bat. Let's talk about this pitching in this edition of Locked On Astros.
Yainel Diaz, this is Locked On Astros.
Hello and welcome to Locked On Astros, your daily Astros podcast. Here are your hosts, Eric the Man Huysman and Brett H-Town Wheelhouse Chancey.
We are Locked On Houston Astros, and we hope that you join us for a daily Locked On Astros podcast. My name is Eric Huysman. You can find me on X at Eric Talks Astros. Find the show at Locked On Astros, your team every day. Brett, where can I find you at?
They can find me at H-Town Wheelhouse on X, Instagram, and TikTok, at Stros411 on X and on Facebook, and Wheelhouse Media Company on YouTube and iHeartRadio. Look, I'm always positive, always Stros.
Hey, guys, thank you for making Locked On Astros podcast your first listen every day, whether it's on YouTube. Go ahead, subscribe to us. Go and make us your first listen. Apple, Odyssey, Spotify, wherever you listen to your podcast. Go and check us out. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can get $150 in bonus bets with your first $5 bet wins. Brett, I'm super excited. I know Saturday's game wasn't super exciting. I know Lance McCullers returned, which was good, but at the same time, he didn't pitch very well. But we'll go ahead and focus a little bit more on the positives. The Astros are the third team in MLB to get to 50 wins. Framber Valdez, he dealt again today. He was 10-0, he wasn't 10-0, but the Astros were 10-0 when he pitched in June. And also, Yordan Alvarez, he's going where and why that's a good thing. We'll talk about that and more on this edition of the Locked On Astros podcast.
Yeah, the Astros come into two series that when you went into it, you were a little worried as an Astros fan, not because you didn't think the pitching would hold up, but you didn't know if the bats would support the pitching. You didn't know if when the Cubs got here that you would hold off that offense. Now, they went on a little bit of a barrage, and they've scored double-digit runs, I think more than just about any team in Major League Baseball. They came in as the second highest scoring offense in Major League Baseball, the second highest runs per game in baseball. And not only did they win the Cubs series 2-3, they literally swept the Phillies with only 5 runs over a 3-game span. But this team continues to show itself, continues to, I guess, shock the audience or surprise other fan bases, because according to Yankees Nation, the Astros are dead. According to Rangers Nation, the Astros run is over. And they just keep winning. And yes, I think they need a more consistent offensive output. But when you're playing the top teams in the league, that's when your pitching steps up. Eric, these were 2 series that were total team series wins. And it's an excellent way to end a homestand 5-1. I mean, I was impressed all weekend. I love the storyline of Cam Smith and Kyle Tucker, and I love the storyline of Cam Smith, hitting a home run against the team who drafted him, and then Kyle Tucker hitting a home run against the team who traded him away. So there were some really cool things going on this weekend, a lot of positives for sure.
Yeah, definitely. And the Astros have been doing really well. They've been doing super well. They were 19-7 in June. I believe that's the best record in the MLB. When Valdez started, they were 10-0, but they are 50-34. Only 2 other teams have the same type of record, and we're talking about the Tigers and the Dodgers. So there's not too many teams that have been doing what the Astros have been doing. So I know the Astros started with that bad, not bad, but the win-lose, the kind of skirting at 500 for a little bit there. But that's why we preach patience. You got to be patient with this team. It just takes a little bit of time for this team to kind of kick it in gear. And it was around Memorial Day where they started to really kick it in gear. And this is not the Phillies, they're not the Pirates. The Cubs, they're not. Well, I was going to say the Cardinals, but the Cardinals are actually.
They're the second, Eric. They're the second best offense in the majors. I mean, they're a very good team. I mean, these aren't the schlubby schlubs. These are when you mentioned that what we're calling the June boom in that 19-7 record, a 3.05 ERA coming into today, didn't give up any runs. But Eric, this is what's interesting. So this season marks the 8th time in franchise history for the Astros to win at least 49 of their first 83 games for a season. Of the 7 previous times, and you can probably guess when those are, 6 reached the postseason, 4 reached the World Series, and 2 won championships. So the trend of this team continuing to excel is definitely something that needs to be focused on.
Yeah, definitely. And the Astros are just playing good baseball. They're not going out there and slugging other teams to death. I mean, you've got the Astros. They won this series against the Phillies and the Cubs with a 0 run differential. Why? Because they got outscored in Saturday's game. We'll talk about Saturday's game. And it was just one game. That's a 1 loss, 5-1 on this homestand. And it's very impressive with all the talk last year about, the hitting background. That's why the Astros can't score. You have all these issues, but the Astros are getting it done at home. They struggled a little bit on the road, but that's even coming up recently. So the Astros are becoming that team that we thought they were. I know a lot of people are throwing that Thanos inevitable thing up there, but the Astros are that team that's going to be out there until, I would say, Jose Altuve is gone. Maybe some more of the core guys are gone, but they've gotten rid of a lot of players and they're still winning. They still have this knack of finding a way. I don't know if it's because of Jose Altuve, but they're just doing great. And to finish 5-1 against the Phillies and the Cubs and to sweep the Phillies just with very limited offense and to barely, I'm not going to say barely win this series, but they didn't outscore the Cubs, but they didn't have to. Kyle Tucker, he had his comeback game. He had his game on Saturday. He had his home run, his double, but you didn't let Kyle Tucker take over the series.
Right.
Cam Smith, on the other hand, he had a great series. We'll talk about that a little bit later. But just overall, this team is just showing it's giving you those vibes, Brett, that this team maybe with a couple more additions at the trade deadline, maybe Cedric Mullins was the latest rumor from Bob Nightingale. Maybe with the right pieces at the trade deadline, maybe this team has what it takes to go to the World Series.
Right, and that's what you have to look at. What move makes this team better today? Cedric Mullins, although I like the upside that he has, I don't know that what he's doing this year moves the needle or sets the tone for this club. Although I don't think it would be a bad outfield, Cam Smith, Cedric Mullins, and Jake Myers. But you've got other people out there, Jaron Duran. You have Eugenio Suarez is also being shopped around. You've got several other players. I mean, Marcelo Zuna from the Braves. I'm not a big fan of his, but there are some big-time bats. Ryan O'Hearn, who I think might garner somewhat of a king's ransom for a rental. But you saw what the 3 picks that we gave up for Yusei Kikuchi this year for the Blue Jays. They aren't contributing. So you have prospects, you have Chas McCormick, you have people that you could go out there and get. It has to make the team better. It has to make sense going forward. It can't just be, they're a left-handed bat. You have to go out and get something that does move this team from where it is further, because Christian Walker is still not producing the way you need him to at the plate. He is good with the gloves, so you're not replacing him. He's not going anywhere, folks. I hope that Christian Walker has the all-star break and resets and has an amazing second half, right? That's what you want. But all these pitchers, Eric, when you look, we knew in the Phillies series, we had Valdez and we had Brown. We're like, okay, cool. But then in this series, we were like, and I didn't realize Valdez was pitching today. Okay. But you didn't have the pitching matchups that you really wanted to dominate the Cubs. And what did you do? You dominated the Cubs. And I'm not talking about the Lance McCullers start. I'm talking about Friday. I was there Friday night. This is a team that got a fourth run in kind of what you would call in garbage time in football, right? You held that team to 4 runs. Oh, and another thing, Josh Hader, now 23 save streak in a row. He continues to move that mark as the record holder for most consecutive saves.
Yeah, we'll go and focus a little bit on pitching right now, but thankfully Jose Altuve had that 2-run homer to give the Astros that lead today. But guys, thank you for making Locked On Astros podcast your first listen every day.
Boy, summer sports are in full swing, and whether you're all about baseball under the lights, golf on the green, or high-stakes soccer action, FanDuel is the best way to make every game even more exciting. You're already following the action. Why not make it a little more thrilling with FanDuel? You can get in on the game while your friends are getting sunburned at the beach. That's right. You can be using FanDuel right now to track your favorite matchups, and the app keeps it fresh with daily new promotions and fun ways to bet. It's an easy to use, fast to pay out, makes even regular season games feel like a must-watch event. Feel like the playoffs. I mean, it's insane. Whether you are placing a same-game parlay or watching a bet ride into the 9th inning, FanDuel makes it feel like you're part of the action. So right now, new to FanDuel customers, when you bet $5, you get $150 in bonus bets if your first bet wins. That's a $5 bet. If that wins, $150 in bonus bets. Open the FanDuel app today and visit FanDuel.com to get started.
Hey guys, thank you for making Locked On Astros podcast your first listen every day. Whether it's on YouTube, go ahead and subscribe to us. Go ahead and make it your first listen. Apple, Odyssey, Spotify, wherever you listen to your podcast, go and check us out. So I know that Framber Valdez, 6 innings, shutout innings. I know he got into some trouble when he tried to pitch into the 7th inning, but Abreu came in and took care of business. But Abreu, we'll talk about him in a little bit. But what Framber Valdez has doing is he is upping his price tag. He went in. It was a pretty good game overall. 5 hits allowed, 2 walks, 6 strikeouts. His ERA is 2.72. But if you look what he's done in June, it's very impressive. But the Astros are 10-0 when he starts in the last 10 games. And overall, he's won his 8th consecutive decision. And he is 8-0 with 1.72 ERA. And so what he's doing is just impressive. I know we say, is it good Framber or bad Framber? But recently, it's been good Framber.
Oh, it's been great Framber. I mean, Framber has been it. Look at this. I pulled the 4 top leading candidates for AL Cy Young, and Framber is right there with Hunter Brown. Actually, Hunter Brown's got everybody in WAR. Hunter Brown's got everybody in ERA and ERA plus. You got the K percentage, Hunter Brown. But Valdez has been very good. I absolutely love what I see. I still would like to see the walks down just a little bit, but Framber Valdez, Eric, is having a year. You got 2 guys that should land in the top 5 or the top 10 for the Cy Young, and Framber he's really locked in right now. And not only is he locked in for the most part, just about every starter that goes out there is why, because they know what comes behind them. The relief pitchers. I mean, for what Brian Abreu did today in the game, 2 innings, 4 strikeouts. And I actually made a little graphic and I put up a tweet that said, Brian Abreu has been seen by the doctors and the x-rays show that he does have that dog in him. And he just absolutely looked good because he came in with a runner on first, a runner on second with no outs, got all 3 outs, and then ended up with 2 innings pitched, 4 strikeouts, not a single hit, not a single walk. So that's what it's about. It's about your starting pitcher and leaving that game in the hands of the relievers and just doing the job.
I guess I was going to say, do you need an MRI for that? Or I guess if you
Well,
have a
they
dog,
were going
it
to wait
might
for the
be.
swelling to
You
go
see
down,
the
but the
dog.
dog in him was so prominent that they didn't. There was no doubt that he has that dog in him.
Well, I think the fact that there's an off day on Monday, I think that went into the fact that Abreu went 2 innings, but it was a critical 2 innings. He came in with the 2 runners on with no outs, and Valdez, to his credit, I'm sure he was rooting for him. And I don't know if you saw that there is the I think after Valdez exited a game, there was a baseball that hit the peanut bag that Julia was about to give to him. It was a foul ball, and it landed right next to Julia. It scared her to death, and peanuts went everywhere. So I don't know if that was a bag was intended for Valdez, but I'm sure they got him some more peanuts. But this game overall, this series overall, except for Saturday, we could talk about McCullers next. But this whole series, outside of McCullers, they couldn't have pitched better. The bullpen did great. The starting pitchers, even Brandon Walter, he didn't pitch super. He wasn't a Superman or anything, but he went out there and limited the hitters overall. I mean, it was a 1-0 shutout. I guess it was pretty good, but
Yeah,
yeah, I guess he was Superman. So
No.
against a powerful lineup like that, I guess he was.
I mean, when you take the second highest scoring offense in all Major League Baseball in the first game in town, and you do what you did to the Cubs, I mean, they were due for an outburst, Eric. They were due for a big game because they've done it all year. I mean, this is a Cubs team that hits a lot of home runs, that hits a lot of RBIs, and yeah, I mean, Walter, he's now 1-1 overall on the year. Eric, let's look at his line. 6 innings pitched, 5 hits, only 1 run, 5 Ks. I think that's a pretty good outing. And I mean, I look at the pitchers that are doing what they're doing, and they aren't the guys that we were supposed to be counting on, because we had no idea the injuries, but the amount of injuries the Houston Astros have had to endure, and the slumping Christian Walker, Yordan Alvarez being out of the lineup. I mean, Altuve not really producing what he does. Diaz not being offensively what he has been, Eric. It is just great to see that they're finding ways to win. And at the end of the day, this team is being battle tested, and not by bad teams, but by good teams. And that will only benefit them in the end.
Okay, I was mistaken. I was thinking of the last game versus the Phillies, but Brandon Walter on Friday, he had 6 innings. He allowed 5 hits, 1 earned run, 5 strikeouts. So that's pretty good. The Astros beat the Cubs 7-4 that game. It was a pretty good game. The Astros scored 3 runs, 4 runs in third inning, 3 runs in fourth inning. I'm getting a little mixed up there with the runs, but they scored a lot early and didn't score anymore. But the bullpen kind of gave up some runs a little bit later on. But overall, that was a pretty good game. And so, like, he wasn't Superman, but he was pretty good. That's why I was remembering. That's why I said that. But Caleb Bort gave up 2 runs. Bennett Souza, he's been doing okay, but he gave up a run in that game. But Lance McCullers, it was not a surprise that he was coming back. They kind of hinted that he was coming back. They did confirm that it was a weightlifting issue, something that happened at the gym. So he did come back, and he was bad in the first inning, but then he kind of recovered for the second and third inning. But then in the fourth inning, he kind of came glued a little bit. I know Tucker had a home run. He allowed back-to-back home runs to Bush and Horner. So it was a ugly fourth inning, but overall you have to take the positives, look at what happened in second, third inning, but the fourth inning was pretty bad for that game.
Yeah, exactly. And one of the things that people are noticing, and something I've seen, is Altuve has been at second base a lot lately. And I know they've been having their guys, different guys, Trammell, different guys like that, go out there, play left field. I think they're positioning themselves to go out there and get a left fielder, Eric. So at the end of the day, whether Yordan Alvarez comes back, I mean, not when, but not if when he comes back, but when he comes back, I bet that they're going to primarily DH this guy. You know what I'm saying? So you just look over the course of 6 games, Brandon Walter, Hunter Brown, Framber Valdez, the bullpen. I mean, Gusto, the game yesterday was just not good. Lance McCullers Jr., I had kind of questioned, why aren't they pulling him? And at some point, you've got to save the bullpen. The bullpen's been gassed. And so he just kind of let him, they gave up 4 home runs that day. And so Lance didn't have a good outing. But Lance is going to have better outings than that. I mean, he's going to have to be better. Like, I understand he's been out 2.5 years or whatever. I understand that. But if you're being handed the starting role, you gotta execute. You gotta perform. There's no like this. I mean, what is that, a rehab start? If a lot of people were like, why didn't he have a rehab start before he came back? I don't know. I mean, maybe it's up and down. You can't do all that. I don't know all the moving parts, but hopefully next game he has a better outing. I mean, because he's had a 12 strikeout performance. He has been pretty good this year. But
Hey, Brett, we're gonna have to continue this conversation. But guys, thank you for making Locked On Astros podcast your first listen every day. Brett, you're exactly right. It was basically a rehab start for the Houston Astros with Lance McCullers. Ryan Gusto, he's been moved to the bullpen. This is something that they were trying to put in works. They didn't have anybody start this game, and Lance McCullers said, hey, I'm ready. I don't need to go down and make a start. I've only missed a week or so, or a week and a half. I don't need to go down to AAA. I'm good. I'm just need to go out there. They limited him to like 75 to 80 pitches anyway. So he threw like 30-something pitches or 27 pitches in the first inning, and then he threw a whole bunch of pitches when he allowed the 7 runs in the 4th inning. So he wasn't going to go deep in that game anyway. That's why you saw Ryan Gusto go out there and give up all the runs. He gave up 4 runs in that game. But this is a situation where, yes, his first start was bad when he came back the first time around. But this is also against the National League Central. For some reason, and Lance McCullers even addressed this, he said, for some reason, the National League Central is my daddy. And the Reds and the Cubs.
Use those words?
Yeah, basically he said that. So it's basically those teams outside of the NL Central, he has a 1-point-something ERA or something in his comeback. So it's sometimes certain teams have your number, and also it depends on when you face those certain teams. When you come back from a 2.5 years not pitching in the big leagues, it's a little rough. And so when you face a team like the Reds, they catch on to you. And when you're off for 2.5 weeks or 2 weeks, whatever it was that Lance McCullers was out, and you face a team like the Cubs, when you have Kyle Tucker and the Cubs that have a deadly offense get embarrassed the day before, well, not really embarrassed, but they get beat by the Astros when they thought they were probably going to win. They came out swinging. And today, Framber Valdez came out and shut them down.
Yeah, I mean, that is really the calling card for this team is the pitching. Someone was having a discussion online earlier I saw, because I don't know if you notice, every time the hitters hit a home run, they wave at the bullpen. They acknowledge a bullpen. It's something that's been going on, and what they're doing is they're basically telling the bullpen, "Hey, we're giving run support, so when you guys come in the game, your job's a little easier." And they have been giving Altuve kind of a hard time because he's been forgetting from time to time, and so he's been jumping out of the dugout waving emphatically. So here's a quote: "The NL Central is kind of like my daddy right now. The Cincy start and now the Cubs start. And outside of that, I feel like I've thrown the ball well." Yeah, see, it's interesting that he would use that phrasing, but okay. I mean, there it is. And I don't know that we really have any key matchups against the NL Central anymore. So if that holds true to form, then the rest of the way should be smooth sailing. His next start apparently is going to be against the Dodgers in LA. So yeah, well, I mean, 2017, he had his way with them. That's a completely different team. They didn't have Ohtani, they didn't have Mookie Betts, they didn't have Freddie Freeman. But this is a scary good Dodgers team, Eric, that is in a dogfight of their own out there in the West. I mean, they've got, dude, you know what, though? As good as the Dodgers are, it might be the Giants that end up going to the World Series this year with Brandon Webb and Matt Chapman coming back, and they're starting to hit the ball. Well, the Giants are doing great things. But what a Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde road trip this is going to be. The Rockies and then the Dodgers. And the Rockies have been known to sneak up on a couple people, even though they've only won a handful of games this year. So that's a series that you hope, hey, maybe this is a series Christian Walker wakes up, hitting in the high altitude of the Rockies. Maybe he hits a couple mile-high home runs, right?
Yeah. So actually, I was mistaken. It was a little bit higher. In his 5 starts after the Cincinnati Reds start, he compiled a 3.20 ERA. In those starts, he went 6 innings twice. So he did have some good starts there. It's not like he's been a waste, but he did give he gave up 7 runs. He matched his career high in runs in this game, 8, and home runs 3. So it was a pretty bad loss that day. So let's go and move on from that and move on to some positive notes that you put on there on Saturday. And I saw the batting practice today. I believe it was today before he flew out to Florida. But what's going on with Yordan Alvarez?
So Yordan Alvarez has been taking swings live, from a pitcher. At first he was swinging the bat in the cages. So he's starting to swing the bat. There's a chance. I would love for him to be able to come back against LA. That would be fun.
Yeah. And they said Dana Brown said that there's a chance that he may come back before the LA series, but don't bet on it. They're probably going to slow play it. And so I don't think that they're going to rush him back. I think that they're going to give him time, but he was hitting home runs this time around. It wasn't just like him hitting painfully. It was him hitting nice and easy, and it looked like he was a little bit more comfortable. And he said that there's a chance that he could join the team in Los Angeles next weekend, though he added it's not the most likely scenario. And so,
right. So earlier today, Eric, I was going to tell you, everybody that, is there at the stadium, covering the Astros. There's a video of Yordan Alvarez hitting home runs. Mm-hmm. And Mauricio Dubon walks up and he just looks back at the cameras and just gives this chest hair grin. I love it. I love the camaraderie that Mauricio and Yordan have on this team. I mean, Mauricio on this team, dude, this guy, Victor Caratini, Isaac Paredes doing great things. I mean, we've got so many guys, Eric, that aren't mega stars in Major League Baseball. They're just good at what they do. They're pro. It's this culture. And every time other fan bases talk to me about the Astros and how are they doing it, I'm like, because it's ingrained in them. It's what they do. And they came back today, Eric, after being pummeled. It didn't bother them. They just came out and Framber did his thing and Altuve hit a 2-run home run and they won. They just shut out one of the highest scoring offenses in the major league. So that's the kind of character this team has. I am less and less worried as we go further into the season. And as people get more healthy, Eric, I mean, that's just, hey, you know what, MLB, you've been put on notice.
Well, I love the fact that Dana Brown's all like, oh, yeah, we're sending him to Florida, and we hope to have him back next weekend versus the Dodgers. And this is what we get from Espada. They'll get some live swings, live at-bats. I'm not going to give you any details. Do they need any games? Right now, they're just going to go down there and get some live at-bats. I'll keep you guys posted about what's next for these guys. So you have one guy saying, oh, yeah, hopefully we're going to get Alvarez back. The other guy's like, yeah, we're not going to tell you what's going to happen. We're just going to keep you informed. But
That's
Chas
fine.
McCormick is the other guy that went to Florida. So he's on his way back too. And Espada did say that the ball was jumping off his bat, and he said he feels really good. So there's no firm timetable, but don't rush him back. You're winning right now without Alvarez.
No, there's no urgency. There is no like, oh my, no, Yordan healthy in the playoffs, Yordan healthy down the stretch is
Right.
way more important than Yordan healthy right before the All-Star break. And so, I mean, let's just get him back 100%.
Another big elephant in the room that we do need to address before we close out the show is Dana Brown did address the Jeremy Pena and Scott Boras situation. I don't know if you saw that. But Dana Brown said that he called Scott Boras when he found out he was representing Jeremy Pena and had initial conversations, telling him that they are still interested in signing him long term. And he also said that it will not change us making an effort to get Jeremy signed long term here. And he already reached out to him. So nothing's changed. The Astros want Jeremy Pena here long time. Now, will they get it done? That's the next question.
Yeah, that is the next question. I think if you can sign Jeremy Pena before his years are up, if you could sign Hunter Brown before he goes into free agency, those are two guys that I would love to have around. The whole Hunter Brown thing, though, it's just like, is his elbow gonna explode like everybody else's elbow in Major League Baseball? But Jeremy Pena, how many years does he have in him like this? Okay. There's a debate going on in the sports world, in the Houston sports world, about, is he a superstar? And they say, superstars have sustained success over multiple seasons. And Jeremy Pena had the 22 season, slumped a little bit the last couple of seasons. Now he's taking off. I think Jeremy Pena has another 2 or 3 seasons like this and stack them back to back to back. Yeah, he's considered one of the superstars. But right now, let's just call it what it is. He got snubbed for the All-Star game. He should have been one of the top 2. But so the fans, I'm sorry, y'all got it wrong. Y'all big swing and miss there. All the others I can live with, but Jeremy Pena getting snubbed makes no sense to me.
So the Astros rotation, we'll talk a little bit more about the Rockies tomorrow, but Tuesday it's going to be Colton Gordon. Wednesday it's going to be Hunter Brown. That means no Hunter Brown versus the Dodgers, unfortunately. Then on Thursday it's going to be Brandon Walter. And then I believe it's only a 2-game series against the Dodgers. So that's going to be interesting if I saw that correctly. But we'll go ahead and talk about that a little bit more tomorrow. But the Astros are doing great. Cam Smith is looking like a whole different guy. And I love the fact that he homered in back-to-back games against the team that traded him away.
It was great.
So that was great. And they weren't just like barely getting over the wall. They were like mammoth shots. So Cam Smith, I think we're about to see the best of him. So Brett, any closing thoughts?
No, just it's going to be fun to watch them play in Colorado. Hopefully they get a hold of the long ball, and our pitchers keep the ball for the Rockies in the park. And that LA series, July 4th weekend, there will be fireworks. So thank y'all for tuning in. Thank y'all. For those of y'all who said hi to me up at the game Friday, I met a few of y'all. It's always fun to see y'all in person. And hey, Eric, have fun out in California.
All right, guys, thank you for making Locked On Astros podcast your first listen every day, whether it's on YouTube. Go ahead and subscribe to us. Go make this first listen, Apple, Odyssey, Spotify, wherever you listen to podcasts. Go and check us out.
Go Stros.
Look like you froze at the end.
No,